first is Bucky Barnes. You've seen him in the trailers for the new movie, which means of course he was part of the team in the comics too. It makes total sense for Bucky to be on the Thunderbolts. It started out as a team made up of mainly like villains pretending to be good to gain power after the Avengers disappeared. Some of the villains discovered that they actually enjoyed being good people, but others remained evil, caused a lot of problems for the team, and it still does if we're being honest. Bucky Barnes in the comics wasn't a founding member of the Thunderbolts, but he was the leader at one point, which meant that was when the team was a good team. Bucky's body operates at peak conditions at all times thanks to the Infinity Formula administered to him by Nick Fury. Obviously, it's not fun that at the beginning of his journey Bucky was brainwashed, but my goodness did he learn to fight and wield literally any weapon. His combat training would make him an intimidating foe even without being supercharged. Probably his most famous power though, what makes it clear you're looking at Bucky Barnes, is the metal arm. Up next, the formidable Monica Rambeau, also known as Photon. Monica was initially offered a role leading the Thunderbolts, but she turned it down. At the time of the offer, Luke Cage was reassembling the team and putting a focus on making it clear it was a good team this time. He asked Monica to be the leader, but she declined because she felt it was more like a publicity stunt than good faith work. In the end, she decided to join the team and supervise the chosen leader, Hawkeye. Monica was a great addition to the Thunderbolts. She transforms her body into various forms of energy within the electromagnetic spectrum. The form of energy comes with individual benefits. If it's one that the eye can't perceive, then the eye can't perceive Monica either. No matter what, she's flying, she's blasting, and moves really fast. All in all, she was a 10 out of 10 teammate. Radioactive Man has fought the Thunderbolts and joined the team. He has range. I'm sure the Thunderbolts preferred him on the team though. In case you haven't guessed from his name, Radioactive Man has radiation-based powers. Shocking news. He was exposed to a lot of radiation, and instead of dying, he just gained the ability to manipulate any radiation, even that found in other supers. He can just shut their powers off. He can manipulate his radiation to make himself more resistant to physical attack, blast energy beams. If you hit him too hard, you risk him literally going off like a nuclear weapon. He can breathe underwater, and speaking of water, this guy created an underwater radiation-based poison that spreads through breathing, so obviously he's also a genius. An evil one, but still a genius. And speaking of geniuses, up next is, it's either Genis or Genius Vel. It kind of depends on who you're asking. I'm gonna say Genius Vel. He actually went by both Captain Marvel and Photon at one point, which caused some problems with Monica Rambeau, but they worked it out. Vel was initially introduced to the Thunderbolts because he knew that in the future, a member of the team, Songbird, was going to be his wife, so he went to meet her. They didn't get together right away, but he did join the team. Vel has quite the backstory. He is part Kree super soldier, his dad was Captain Marvel, and he was genetically engineered using Titan tech, so he's got all the bells and whistles like super strength and speed and flight, plus he casts illusions and force fields. He's incredibly intelligent and even became smarter after bonding to Rick Jones and activating his cosmic awareness. He does have a failsafe built in. He can't survive underwater, so there is some hope of defeat if he ever starts acting up. Of course, Miss America had to make this list, even though she is a pretty new recruit. Miss America is still quite young in the MCU and comics-wise, so while she has demonstrated lots of different powers, it's still unclear where it all runs out. But what we do know is this girl can fly, smash star-shaped portals that let her hop across the multiverse, travel through time, is practically indestructible, and can move so fast everything around her stands still. We should be glad she's a good person. Miss America was part of the Thunderbolts' recent sort of rebrand. The reputation of the team in-universe wasn't doing so great, so Luke Cage literally hired a PR person to create a team that would heal the brand, and that's how good old Miss America made the list. Robert Baldwin, aka Speedball, lives up to his name. He is a ball of energy. He gained his powers after he was exposed to kinetic energy from another dimension. The way he works is he creates a barrier around himself that absorbs all kinetic energy thrown at him. Nothing can hurt him in that state. He was once deduced by hindsight to be an embodiment of time and motion. It appears that Speedball can, to some degree, manipulate his own molecules. He makes his suit and can change it at will. Of course, absorbing kinetic energy means that he can also release that energy in the form of like energy beams or flight. It was also discovered that as Speedball, he is immune to telepathic influence. As Robert, and I guess also technically as Speedball, he is a skilled hacker, so very, very smart. Speedball is not currently a member of the team, but he has been known to jump around, so maybe he will be back on the roster soon. Songbird, also known as Melissa Gold, once led the Thunderbolts, and it's not hard to see why. She was also one of the original members. Songbird is extremely powerful, and once she was given the chance to be the good guy, she latched onto that and tried steering the team down an honest path. Songbird's thing is literally screaming. Her screams are so loud, her screaming beside you is kind of like if you were to stand beside a jet as it's taking off. The screams are loud, but to make things interesting, the note she screams at also matters. The note A causes temporary blindness, high C's hallucinations, and low C's anxiety-like symptoms. Other notes cause bodily harm or induce sickness-like symptoms. Overall, not only would someone screaming at you just be annoying, it would literally hurt you. At one point, Songbird screamed so loud she threw out her voice and was given vocal implants. Those came with their own bonus features like the ability to produce force fields, control minds, hit someone with pure sound force, and even create wings on her back so she can fly. That's just her niche power. In addition to her trademark, she is also trained in combat, which made her as fit as a person can be. Her time in the Thunderbolts taught her how to fly various aircrafts, and to top it all off, she's apparently a really good singer. I'd be more concerned if she wasn't, honestly. Luke Cage also led the Thunderbolts in the era when the team wanted to turn their rep around. Luke Cage is one of the coolest Marvel characters out there. Speaking power-wise, yeah, he's cool, but his aura is what puts him on another level. He is a super soldier, so that means he is super strong, super good at fighting, and super hard to break since he is invulnerable. Luke Cage doesn't have many weaknesses, but the ones he does have are totally unexpected. He has to deal with his skin being so hard to break that were he to need surgery, he couldn't unless the doctor had very specific tools. It's kind of hilarious. He is so invulnerable, it swung back around to him being vulnerable again, but in a different way. Thankfully, he does have a healing factor, so it would have to get really bad for this to ever be a problem. Hyperion might not have been a good guy after all, but he did still join the Thunderbolts and is considered one of the strongest Eternals and a level 12 threat. He was apparently created to be an imitation of Superman, so it makes sense that he's got all of his powers: flight, heat vision, invulnerability, immortality, and the list goes on and on and on. And it wouldn't be a Superman copy without a weakness to some random rock. In Hyperion's case, that rock is Argonite. It's a good thing that he has this weakness because it came in handy. He is not a good person. He's actually probably the worst one could be. He ended up on Earth and was recruited into the Thunderbolts. He pretended that he was a good version of himself and the evil version switched universes with him. Good enough story for the Thunderbolts, I guess, and soon he was helping them fight giant monsters in Japan. It was in this fight the Thunderbolts realized they messed up because he turned on them mid-battle, literally blowing some of the teammates into the water and cutting Man-Thing in half. He even fought Juggernaut and nearly won until the team used the Argonite and got him back. But without that rock, this guy would have been unstoppable. Despite being cut in half though, Man-Thing is actually pretty powerful. He is the guardian of the nexus of all realities. In short, he can open up portals because he is time and space. His job also gives him the ability to put pieces of one reality into another, even changing the pieces to fit better in the new setting. His only, not even weakness, but just like a drawback I guess, is that he has to have seen a place to open a portal to it. But the thing is like pictures are fine, so this isn't really that much of a weakness to me. Man-Thing doesn't really have a brain, but he is hyper aware of his surroundings and can communicate with others. He speaks a universal language, however the person he's communicating with wants to hear him is how he will be heard. And that is the coolest thing in the entire world. Man-Thing doesn't have emotions necessarily, but he does react to the emotions around him. If someone is super angry and provokes him, Man-Thing will hit them with some burning acid, which is exactly what happened to Hyperion. Man-Thing can regenerate from pretty much any blow using plant and vegetable matter. He is also super strong, he flies, and can grow to the size of a skyscraper. Man-Thing helped out Luke Cage's Thunderbolts many times, including the battle in Japan and another in Chicago. But what do you think? Let us know. Bye!